Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? This is Enrique, and this is Easy Things to Draw. Hopefully, you guys had a nice, Christmas, Hanukkah, any holiday that you guys celebrate at the end of the year. I celebrated Christmas, and I got two presents. I got actually a few presents, but I got a few presents like that are right here, and I'll talk about them really quick because I've been using this thing like all day and all night basically. And I got it like yesterday, so I'm using it all day, and I love it. And I will talk about why I have this here. And I got a book here on birds. It's a discount book that was in Barnes and Noble. So you saw the title of the video, and the title of the video basically has to do with this. I'm going to show you the process that I go through to kind of memorize things and kind of build your visual library. And I talked about this before, and I'll talk about it again. When you're, learning to draw stuff from your head, that stuff is really just stuff that you drew before. You kind of have it in your muscle memory, or maybe in your memory, going around, up in your head, and you're putting it back down on paper. There's always room, obviously, for reference. Professionals, everyone I know, professionals or not, and the most professionals use reference. That's great. But sometimes you want to do stuff out of your head, whether it be in your sketchbook or, maybe for work you're going to do it out of your head. And I kind of want to teach you just kind of the process of kind of how I go about trying to learn a new thing, This is kind of an advanced concept, so kind of, I hope I'm not going too quick or overboard. I don't really hear a lot of people talk about this. I know there are, but just not a bunch of them. First of all, this is a book I got. Let me show you this thing. This is a tool I've been using. By the way, let me also say that I'm not getting a commission. I'm not getting paid to talk about this thing. You know what I mean? I just got it, and I thought it was cool. It's like $30. And what it is, and the crazy thing is it doesn't come out very well on camera. The way it writes, it comes with a little stylus, and you can essentially, hopefully, I'll do it really dark so you can see. Right? Let me see that. You can kind of see it, right? Kind of see it. I think you can see it better in the light. Let me move it over here, so you can kind of see it better, and you can do whatever you want, right? Write whatever you want, and then you can press this button to erase it completely. So I'm gonna have to bypass. I'll tell you a little bit more. So learning how to draw, and then actually kind of adding to your visual library. Those are kind of two different things. Learning how to draw is you're learning the principles and kind of rules. More principles of drawing. Structure. You're talking about structure, anatomy. Right, shading, value, composition, all that stuff, right? That's all the kind of principles of how to draw, But by the time you know the process like that works for you of how to draw, you're trying to build your visual library so you can draw stuff out of your head. And usually, people don't do that the same way, I do kind of it's not. Let me just show you what I do. So normally what I do is I grab a random reference books. Let's say I'm doing something on, and I picked the page here. I picked the toucan, and that's what I love about this book. It's basically a reference book for me. Let me see. Hopefully you can see. Let me see. You can kind of see what's on the screen there, right? And like I said, this is going to replace paper. Normally what I do is I'll look at that picture. And granted, I'm not going to learn everything I know about bird anatomy. I don't know how to draw toucans. I don't really think I've drawn a toucan ever. But I'm looking at this photo, and hopefully you can see it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try to break it down with what little I know. I know it's an animal, so there's going to be a skull in there, right? There's going to be a rib cage in there somewhere. I can see his rib cage. And then he's got this huge elongated beak. And I'm just kind of scribbling around right now for, just kind of like figuring it out in my mind. Like, hey, just trying to figure the shapes out. It's not going to be pretty. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of figuring like, no, his chest is a little bit bigger. He's got a tail that kind of swoops downward, and then his legs, they come out over here. Think of this large mass. So what I'm thinking of is I'm kind of thinking of the large shapes this thing makes. Okay, I'm gonna clear that. Like I said, normally I use paper for this. I use paper and I just go through tons and tons of paper, and I'm not doing anything to, like, as a presentable drawing. This is like your own stuff, you know what I mean? You're not going to present this stuff. You're doing this to kind of figure this out. I'm looking at what large mass shape could this be. This could be like, he clearly has like kind of this tummy here, and it goes up into kind of like, I'm thinking like a bean a little bit, and then he's got an elongated beak. The beak is like, wow, 3 or 4 times longer than him. Here's one thing I didn't know, like I said earlier. I didn't know the lower beak has that same swooping down motion. I would have drawn it. If I didn't look at it, I would have drawn it like that. What I'm doing is I'm taking note of the things that I just don't know. Like if I was to draw a toucan from my head, like without even looking at one, I would just, draw Toucan Sam, try to draw something like that. But what I'm doing right here is I'm trying to analyze the things that I don't know. For one thing, this swooping here, didn't know that. That's new to me. The way the legs bend like that, I never draw birds, I mean, I would have drawn the leg. See, if you look at the leg, I would have drawn the leg just completely straight down, coming out of his chest. And then, like, the feet right there. But now I know there's, like, this bone right there, the joint. It kind of goes into that. Hopefully what I'm telling you makes sense. I'm just going over what I do. And I start analyzing what I don't really know. Like, I would say out of birds, I really don't know anything about the shapes the legs make. And I do this like a lot, as much as I need to do, and I'm trying to really figure out how the mechanics of this thing would work, from a layman point of view. I'm not gonna, you can look at bird anatomy and things like that, but what I want to do is I want to draw it. I don't want to dissect the bird. I'm not a doctor. So I got this kind of shape going on. Giant shape kind of comes, there's kind of a little bump on the top. That's another thing. I would have drawn like the forehead and that thing together, And obviously I'm taking into account there's different kinds of toucans, this is just one toucan. This is just one view, right? What I'm doing is I'm building my library of this one view, toucan on the side view. And so I keep looking at it, and now what I do, like right now, I now would go through tons and tons of sketches normally, just trying to figure it out. And I would like throw tons of paper away. That's why I love this thing here. I can just do this, erase, do this, erase. And so the next thing I do is I'll bookmark that page, or whatever it is that you're using for reference. And I'm going to try to draw it out my head. And this might suck, guys, so be aware of that. I'm going to try to see. So I remember, he's got this kind of shape up here. His lower body gets larger. He's got a bump right here. Large jump. Everything's real sketchy. I'm just trying to really figure it out. I know he's at that lower sweep, right? But I know his stomach also, I saw this peak over here in the stomach. So, and then his legs come out. One thing I learned. His leg has a joint over here. Actually, I think, and try to sort it out in your mind. Like, try to memorize it. That's what you're trying to do, is you're trying to recall it, right? And I'm just trying to recall the structure right now first. That looks like he's leaning too far back. See, there's no erase on this. So what I'm going to do again is I'm going to... Sorry if you guys can't see this. I'm really sorry. Let me look through the camera. You can kind of see what I'm doing. So, I'll try to zoom it in when I edit this. Okay, so one thing is, I think his leg will come downward because he needs to support himself. So I'm going to guess that it kind of goes back a little bit. Like that kind of leg. Not so much, less bent. I think it's more bent. Tail over there goes down, tail feathers. Alright, anyways, I'm trying to figure out the leg. The most I didn't know about this particular bird is the beak swoop and this leg right here, which I guess a lot of birds have, and I just don't draw enough birds. So now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna see if I can. I mean, I don't draw normally. I haven't drawn on this thing very much, but I'm gonna take a shot at trying to draw something mildly presentable, at least presentable as I can. So, and by the way, you don't have to be photographic. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be a photograph. You're not trying to copy it exactly. It's kind of you're still doing an interpretation, just kind of like when you draw from a photo, which I want to do a tutorial on, by the way, how to draw, how to use photo reference for photos. I mean, for photos. Wow, for drawings. The little head over there. At the tummy. Head's a little big right there, so it's going to go off the page. See, I think his head should be smaller. Yeah. Doesn't really look like a toucan. Let me try again. You can do this with multiple photo reference too, by the way. You know, you can have a bunch on if for every angle to figure stuff out. I mean, this bird is, let's be honest, it's simpler than a horse. You know, where you have four, you got all kinds of joints going everywhere. It's moving. You know, that's totally different. Not totally different, but I do it the same way. And also, this visual library you have in your mind, just because it's there once doesn't mean it's there forever. You know, you gotta practice it. So, and you don't have to like, doesn't mean you have to like drill, you know, birds every day or something. It's just that whenever you come around to drawing a bird again, then you. Sorry, I'm talking and I feel like it's. Sorry, I'm trying to memorize that and I'm talking, so it's kind of like, I'm like, why did I not know how to draw that now? Because I'm talking at the same time. I guess I can't really multitask when I'm trying to learn something. Because I'm trying to learn right in front of you. So, let me talk real quick. When I draw on a horse, there's a lot of stuff going on. It is different. It's the same process. I do the same process. But let's just say you learn how to draw birds today, right? And you don't really draw a bird for a year. Just, you know, you just cross-reference it again. You look at it. It's kind of like warming up. You look at it and you're kind of like going through again. You're like, oh, you know. It's kind of like if you haven't spoken a language for a few years. And then you go back and you start talking it. And then pretty soon you get, you know. It's not like you start from square zero again. You're just pulling out that knowledge you had. Yeah, let me draw this damn bird. Sorry, I might be quiet. I just really want to draw this damn bird. And like I said, I'm just learning the structure. And the structure is everything. Okay, I gotta stop talking. Um, Anyways, forget the bird. Anyway, I'll still draw it. I'm learning. I'm just trying to learn the structure of it. So I'm gonna look back at. I'm gonna bring this back, and be like, nah. See, I screwed up. His skull is too big. So the skull I drew is way smaller. The skull's more like this size, and he's got that little swoop under here, underneath his, kind of like a double chin or something. And even that color change right there is like a whole other chest. So I would just do this. Sorry I can't go through the entire thing because the entire thing is horrifically boring. But I just showed you part of it. But I would go through that until I have a decent amount memorized. Until I can draw a decent, you know, toucan. And then after that, what I would do is I would draw it a few times, obviously. See if you can draw it in a different pose, which is weird, right? Maybe not straight on because you haven't really seen it straight on, you know, maybe if you have a few different pictures. But let's say if you can draw it like the other way, you know, you're like, okay, small skull. that beak is just so wrong. I don't know what's going on with that beak. You know, but try to draw it the opposite direction. Stuff like that. Sorry, I'm thinking and talking. I can't. Sorry about that. I hope you understand about that. But that's how I learn how to draw anything out of my head. You know, like when I draw my sketchbook, if you learn, you know, how to draw birds a certain way, you can draw like, you know, if you learn to draw open wings, things like that, then you can draw angels all of a sudden. You know what I mean? You can take what you know in this library and remix it to do whatever you want. That's why people are so impressed by people that draw stuff right out their head. You know, like monster designs. You draw monsters that are based on real animals, you know, because you built that library. And that's how people do it. You know what I mean? Another example, when I draw like a dragon, right? You draw on basically parts of like big cats, you know? What else? Like maybe parts of a crocodile, parts of lizards. That's just all stuff that you've drawn, and then you're just taking bits of it, remixing it. That's how people do it. That's how, at least, I do it. If you have any questions, okay, let me recap real quick, just to kind of go through the process, because I know I just kind of like threw that out there. So, when I start learning, I'll just go through it real quick. I grab photo reference. I draw that photo reference as much as I can, and you don't just draw it. I forgot to mention that. You don't just draw it, you try to understand it. Here's a new one, right? You try to understand the shapes that it's made up of. I see a small circle right here. Small circle, rib cage area. Is this on camera? Yeah. Rib cage area. I see this right here like a square. I look at it and I try to break it down into shapes. And then I see kind of the delicacies of it, like his feathers are ruffling probably underneath. I mean, there's another drawing, so. His feathers are underneath there. The sweep, you know, the chest maybe. You know what I mean? I try to analyze it to the points where I can memorize it. That's a cool little phrase. And then I test myself. After you're done, and let's say you draw and you're like, hey, I can draw a pretty decent, you know, bird in that one position, you know? Once you do that, I would say take a break or maybe do something else for a while or the next day and see if you can do it without looking again. Because sometimes you'll be like, oh, snap, it's gone, you know? You got to do it a little bit again, you know? And then it's like, oh, okay, I got it, okay. You know, and that's how you really solidify it. You know, you're not just putting it in your short-term memory, you're putting it into your long-term memory when you do that. You know, when you go back and practice it the next couple of times. Or when you do it in a sketch, or when you draw a monster and you're putting that, you know, cool, you know, owl beak or something like that. So, I've rambled long enough. I'm sorry. I hope if you stuck around to the end, I really appreciate it. This channel's doing amazing. I am pretty much almost like living off this channel now. Like, you guys are amazing. It just the way you share my videos and the way you guys comment, it's you know, you guys like my videos and watch. I really appreciate it. It's been a great 2004. It's been amazing, and I know we still got a few more days left, so I am really excited, and I'm really grateful to all you guys. So I'll talk to you later. See ya.